In the earlier video on two-dimensional arrays, we looked at a program where we had 5 rows of student grades and we printed the average for each student. Let's run that program again real quick. As I mentioned before, another thing we might want to do with this set of data is look at the average of the tests rather than the average of the student. So to do that, we have to change from going across the rows to going down the columns. And to do that, all we have to do is switch the inner and outer loops so that the columns are controlled by the outer loop and the rows are controlled by the inner loop. Let me show you how that's done with this example. First thing we'll do is add a new line. Now, let's copy and paste the earlier loop that we used to print the student averages. And we're just going to make some changes to variable names. So here in the outer loop, rather than work with R, we're going to work with C for columns. So we'll change that and change that R to C. Change student to test. And then in the inner loop, change the C to R. Change cols to rows. Change this ++C to ++R. Change our average formula to divide by the rows rather than the columns. And then we can print the averages. Let's build and run the program. Oh, one slight mistake. Because the tests are controlled by columns, here we want C+1 rather than R+1. Now we're ready to build and run. And take a look at our output. For the test, we have 75, 85, 92, 74, and 84. That's for test 1. Then for test 2, we have 82, 81, 91, 72, and 82, which you can verify by looking up at the rows up here. So as you can see, to work by columns rather than rows, all you have to do is flip the inner and outer loops so that rather than having the outer loop control rows, the outer loop controls columns, and the inner loop controls rows. In my next video, we'll begin looking at some exercises for working with arrays.